Oo, nagpahilot pa ako.
Parang wala yata signal sir.
Nagpahilot ako.
Kaya yun.
Tuloy mo na.
Hindi ako nakapunta.
Alam, Friday?
Oo.
Ako rin.
Ha?
Ako rin, hindi pumunta.
Hindi. Nung sa mismong marathon.
Ay, hindi.
Mm-hmm.
Dito ako pumunta. O hindi rin. Bakit hindi ka pumunta?
Yung client namin nagalit sa akin kagabi. Napunta ako ng umaga.
Kumusta yung ano nyo? Review nyo last week sa history? Natapos nyo naman. Lahat.
Hindi po.
Hindi.
Ang one ano lang kami, 1 PowerPoint lang 90 slides.
May assignment ba
Saan
kayo?
kayo pumalo?
Saan nga tayo pumalo last time?
Umabot ba kayo sa
Ilan yung slide niya yun?
Roman?
90.
Lumagpas naman po kami.
Lumagpas kayo.
Romanesque.
Romanes. Oh my God.
Hindi.
Modern, hindi nyo natapos.
Hindi. Hindi pa kami umabot sa mga
Na,
Filipino, Asian.
yung slide ni Lucky yung nilalagay niya.
Pero isang ano nga lang kami, isang PowerPoint lang kami last time. 90 slides.
Ang daming ang daming building sa ang daming history ng modern.
Kaya ihahabol din namin siya sa online.
Kaya ano nyo na lang, ano nyo sa group study. Buti na lang pala pinadaanan ko kayo doon sa study. Okay, sige guys. Before anything else, baka pwedeng short prayer muna tayo. Sir, sino po ang pwede?
Sila. May listahan kayo.
Hello! Kamusta ka na?
Wala sa
Pray tayo, pray please.
Okay, let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you po sa araw na ito. Thank you po sa biyaya na binigay niyo sa amin sa araw-araw. At sa knowledge at wisdom na sinishare mo sa amin para sa review nito. Tulungan mo po kami na magkaroon pa ng mas maraming ideya at lakas para sa darating na exam. Tulungan mo po kami at ilayo mo po kami sa kapamakan. Bigyan mo po kami ng sapat na talino at lakas para sa mga pagsubok na darating sa aming buhay. Yun lamang ka. Amen. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Good morning everybody. So today ang ating aaralin is all about planning. So lahat ba kayo mayroong slide binigay sa inyo? As you can see, all of those slides, minimum niya 150 pages each. Napaka-importante kasi nun kasi unang-una, hindi naman lahat ng review center tinutulungan natin. So madalas, ang focus kasi puro theory, history, pero kasi may part kasi ng history na puro tungkol sa paano ba natin dine-develop on a large scale. Kasi ngayon, dati kung ang nakikita ninyo, ang inaaral natin is yung building lang. This time, buo na. Series of buildings na. So kumbaga, community na yung tinitingnan ninyo. Okay, so ngayon, aaralin natin kung paano nag-evolve ang planning. So, ang una natin slide is all about history and theory. So, I just compiled all the very important key points na aralin natin. Tapos, yung second slide is all about theory. Sino yung mga kilalang tao na theorize ng mga bagay-bagay. Lumalabas kasi sa exam yung anong mga klaseng planning ng mga cities. No? It's more on urban design going to urban plan. Now, yung third na slides natin, medyo madami-dami lang. planning, parang EMT na rin yun. Paano ba ginagawa ang planning? Okay? So yun yung tatlo. So ngayon, start tayo sa planning 1. Okay, alam natin, lahat tayo nag-start. Okay, I'm meaning to say, kung scientific tayo, evolution of man, we started with Homo sapiens, right? So, people who are known as hunter-gatherer. Hindi ko alam kung nanood kayo ng pelikula na ano yung 108 AD ba yun?
Chitay.
Yung naghahunt sila ng mga hayop. May pelikula yun eh, just listen lang. Yun yung totoong itsura ng hunter-gatherer. Okay? Nomad sila. Ibig sabihin ng nomad, kung saan sila nakakarating para lang maghanap ng pagkain. So basically, what they have done, ang mga tao ito, tumira sa kuweba. Okay? Do you know na ang Pilipinas, yung Callao Cave sa Cagayan, is mas luma pa kaysa doon sa mga recorded na history. Now, it is tawag ito, naghahunt sila ng mga hayop, and then yung mga buto ng mga hayop yung ginagawa nilang tools. Then eventually natuto silang gumamit ng apoy. Paano ginagamit ang apoy na hindi nagsisindi ng phosphor? Diba? And then meron lang stock of hay. Then there is a spark. So yan. Then eventually, mga tao, siguro scarcity ng hunting gathering nila, natuto na silang mag-stay sa isang lugar kung saan merong abundant plant life. Doon nag-start yung agriculture. So nauna muna tayong mag-hunt before yung agriculture. Then nagkaroon ng agriculture, then is domestication of animals. Okay? So, ayan. Nung araw, people can actually survive having all of those potential for natural calamities. Meron na yan nung araw na fire flood, yun na nararanasan natin ngayon. Although, mas matindi lang ngayon yung frequency. Okay? Then, we depended on those bodies of water, kaya nga ang mga cities natin started very near sa mga water bodies kasi nga accessible sa mga tao. Then the sloping terrain forms natural defenses and the primate. So now, here is the pattern, the primary settle pattern. So you can see from one main street, you have linear, axial, radial, grid, then precinctual. Ibig sabihin ng precinctual, parang it's a combination of lateral and then linear. Okay? So, ang main talaga sa pagpaplano ng mga komunidad noong araw, rectilinear. Ang rectilinear, madalas makikita ninyo sa mga Greek and Roman settlements. Yung mga circular pattern, very prominent sa mga African nations. Ganyan sila. Kasi, paano nangyayari yan? Okay, here, as you can see, pag rectilinear, meaning, yung mga street ninyo nakalinya. Okay? So, itong nakikita ninyo, unang-una nating settlements na may ganyan, yung Katalhuyuk. Okay. So, wala pa muna. So, rectilinear with agricultural landscaping. So, natuto tayo magparti-partition ng mga lote. Okay? So, sentro, makikita ninyo sa sentro na yan, nandun yung parang seat of government. Okay? So, they are all in a rectilinear fashion, and they are having order, and doon mag-start yung planning natin. Alright, so, actually napuntahan ko itong Jericho na to. Okay, yan ang pinaka-oldest. So, 7,000 to 9,000. Ako, mukhang ayaw kang palabas ng mga.
Hindi tayo uuwi.
Tayo mo lumabas? Brother, pakitawag mo nga yung ano. Alright, so Neolithic cities, pag sinabing Neo, ayun, may analyze tayo. Neolithic cities, early settlement in Israel, as you can see, it's 7,000 to 9,000 before Common Era, BCE. Okay? Ganyang katagal. Okay? They are actually a series of mud bricks. You remember the last time na nag-talk ako, nakita ko sa inyo yung skyscraper sa inyo yun. Ganyan ang mga itsura. So it's a combination of mud and straw. Then you have in Cyprus. By the way, Cyprus is an island in the Mediterranean south of Greece. Okay? Very near Israel and Lebanon. So, ayun, may mga ruins dyan as early as 5,500 BC. It's the first documented settlements with streets. Okay? Then, kapag babalikan natin yung history na inaral natin nung high school tayo, alam natin yung Fertile Crescent. Ano tong Fertile Crescent? It is a land that traverses the twin rivers of Tigris and Euphrates. So right now, as you can see on the screen, the Tigris and Euphrates, it actually, ang delta niya ay nasa modern-day Iraq ngayon. Diyan, sa Tigris and Euphrates, kapag binalikan natin yung Mesopotamia architecture, Mesopotamian architecture, malalaman natin yung architecture na nag-start kay Eridu or Uruk, Babylon, which is documented before as the largest city in the world. Alam natin yung Babylon, yung Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Okay? It's very, very near to the modern-day Baghdad. Okay? So Tigris and Euphrates, this river, ang water ay nanggagaling sa mountains of southeastern Turkey. Okay? Bakit meron dyan sa area na yan? Kung alam niyo yung Mount Ararat, diba, biblically, ang sabi nila, ang Noah's Ark daw ay doon lumapag noong mga panahon ng Great Flood. Napakataas ng mountain na yan. Ang tawag ngayon dyan ay, iba na yung pangalan, hindi na Mount Ararat. Pero the water flows from there, from those mountain ranges. And it exits to the Persian Gulf through modern-day Iraq. Okay. So as you can see, all of this rectilinear planning starts with water bodies like rivers of Nile, Tigris, and Euphrates. Okay? Even sa Brazil, you have Amazon River, having all of those civilizations as well. Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa in Pakistan is on the meron tayong tinatawag ng mga rivers doon, Ganges and Indus rivers. Okay? So that is the beginning of the urban planning. When settlements started to flourish within those river systems. So, ang unang-una talaga na city kingdom as early as 2000 to 4000 BC is the Sumerian. You know guys, I remember sa India yata ako nagturo ng Mesopotamia, mga ganyan, Sumeria, Babylonia, and I even teach them Mesoamerica, yung mga Aztec, Maya, Inca, and everything. I'm so fascinated with it even up to now when there are seminars about Mesopotamian, Assyrian, Babylonian architecture. I'm still attending, even the Mesoamericans. Okay? So those most cities have populations ranging from 3,000 to 5,000. Okay, tingnan niyo guys. Ano ba? Meron kayo dyan, I-enlarge nyo dyan sa As you can see, these are all areas wherein may mga river systems. Mesopotamia, Nile Valley, Indus Valley, Mediterranean Europe, Huanghe Valley in China, and Mesoamerica, and Mexico going down to Peru. Okay, now, As you can see, here are the earliest civilization. So nauna talaga yun sa Mesopotamia, Eridu. So as you, kung titingnan natin, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 before Common Era. So meaning, ang Eridu almost starting from 3,500. And then Ur and Babylon going to 2,000. So habang nagde-develop yung Mesopotamian civilization, may nag-start na rin sa Nile. Okay? So ibig sabihin, may simultaneous. Then harapan mo Henhodaro. Then you have this what you call nag-start siya around mga 2,200, 2,300. Harapan mo Henhodaro was actually documented as yan yung may mga unang plumbing pipes, mga sewer lines sa mga Henhodaro. And then Mediterranean Europe, mga Greek cities, Roman cities, as you can see, ang Greek kasi is a series of islands. Okay, you have the mainland and then you have this Santorini and then yung mga iba pa mga isla, just Cyclades. Tingnan nyo yung mga map sa globe, Pag tinignan nyo yung Greek, malaki yung Greek kasi may mga isla pa siya. Then may mga territory pa siya malapit sa Turkey. And then puro mga nag-start yan. Ang Greek architecture nag-start sa Mycenaean, which is an island civilization, and even Roman. Okay? And then those are the Greek and Roman cities. Alongside, nung nag-start yung Greek and Roman, nag-start na rin yung sa China. Okay? You have Yellow River and then Yangtze. Okay? Most of them is a canal system connecting those two cities. Then the Mesoamerican, they documented it as early as almost like 200 before Common Era. But you see, guys, as you can see in the whole map of the world, there was a study that says that the earliest traces of human are actually starting from African continent. Then they actually go around to the Russian, and then there is the land bridge going to Alaska. Then bumaba yan hanggang North America and then going down to Mexico, down to South America. So as you can see, sabihin natin, ay late na silang nag-start ng kanilang civilization, but that is not, actually it's a travel of the earliest civilization. So mapapansin niyo, mas maaga pa pala yung mga communities na nakikita nila sa sa mga Indian nations ng US. Nauna talaga doon before bumaba sa Inca, Aztec, blah 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 blah. So it's a migration pattern of people. So mga tao actually are in search of resources. Okay? So you have Eridu on the Mesopotamian architecture. That's the first civilization, acknowledged the oldest city. And the Damascus is yung binomba ng mga Taliban at ng kanilang civil war. Damascus, sayang kasi ang dami-daming mga heritage sites doon, but still, they are still continually inhabited city sa Syria. Okay? And then you have the Babylon, yung kanina, pinakita natin, dito, nasa Iraq. Okay? Hanging Gardens of Babylon. So, maraming story yan. I mean, even biblically, it was well documented. So it's the largest city with 80,000 inhabitants. So just imagine all of those towers, step, na roof garden na nakita nyo naman yung itsura ng Babylon through the images. Ang mga tao nakatira sa ganun. Yeah, this one. So 2,400 BC, Gate of God, ang ibig sabihin ng Babylon. Okay? So ganyan yung kanyang mga settlement. But you see, before nagkaroon ng Babylon, mas madami pang city ang nauna sa kanya. So alam niyo, minsan nakikilala yung pinakamagandang city sa isang lugar. Actually, it started from Siggurat. No? Hanggang sa na-develop yung Siggurat. And then the Siggurat is the actual starting point how Egyptians did the pyramids, yung Siggurat. Dati kasi Siggurat, step by step yon. Di ba parang ng ano, Babylon? Then eventually, tinapered na lang nila. Okay? Ang pinakasikat na element ng Babylon na still they are using mineral like lapis lazuli, yung blue, mga blue gates nila na yon. Ayun, ando na sa mga ano sa UK Museum. Alright, so it is a symbolism of the greatness of Nebuchadnezzar II. Okay? Biblically, itong hari na ito, nabayo ito. Okay? Naalala ninyo, mga taga-Israel, sila ay naging mga exile papunta dyan sa area na yan ng Babylon. Okay? Nung mga panahon na ang Israel, yung Kingdom of Israel, after ng panahon ni Solomon, ay unti-unting bumagsak. At sila ay nalukob ng iba-ibang mga imperyo katulad ng Assyria, lahat ng mga sumakop sa kanila. Okay. Alright, so that is around 6th century BC. When we are looking at 6th century means century is 100 years. Gets natin ito ha? So pag sinabing 6, so from 0, balik ka ng 600. Okay? 3000 BC, you have the cities of Thebes and Memphis along the Nile Valley. As you can see, it's characterized with many monumental architecture, plaza, tombs. As you can see guys, when I was learning about this architecture, most of the initial stages ng planning are actually tomb monuments. Okay? Libingan talaga ang pinag-startan. So when people are so sentimental, I mean, they want to, even in afterlife, iniisip nila na kapag namatay ka at maganda yung pinanghimlayan mo, it will be immortalized forever. Okay, so that is the impetus of what we have in Egyptian life. As you can see, lahat ng mga structure na yan, nahuhukay nila, puro mga, ano nakikita nila? Mga sarcophagus, ano pa? O, inaral nyo na yan ha? Ano yung libingan ng mga pero? Di ba, anong ginagawa sa kanila? Mummified, di ba? And then binabalot sila doon sa casket na yon, Alright. So, yung mga pero, pagka sila ay nilibing doon sa mga pyramids na yan, even yung kanilang mga katulong, kasama nila doon na nalilibing, mga paborito nilang hayop nandoon din. At yung mga kayamanan nila, kasama nilang nililibing doon. Kasi naniniwala sila na kapag sila ay nabuhay na afterlife, kasama din sila. Wait. So as you can see here, itong mapa na ito, yan. Napakadaming pyramid dito sa banda ng Sudan. Mas madaming pyramid sa Sudan. Kaya lang maliliit sila. So ibig sabihin, these are trial and error process hanggang sa yung matataas na mga pyramid, yun yung culmination, yung greatness ng kanilang pyramid building. So these are all the cities. Once na nag-try kayo pumunta ng Egypt at nag-avail kayo ng tours, ayan ang mga daanan ninyo. Mag-Nile cruise kayo. So, yung mga cities of Thebes, Abydos, blah 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 blah, hanggang Memphis, then all the way going to the Delta. Hello, good morning. And one of the great cities is the Alexandria. It's a combination of Roman Greek, no? Kasi alam natin nasakop to ng mga Romano no? The Roman Empire. So makakakita pa rin kayo ng mga magagandang structure na may Roman design. Alright? So here it is. So as I'm saying, the Chinese settlement pattern is started with portable pens. Hindi ko alam kung nanonood ba kayo mga pelikula ng mga mga Robin Hood, mga ganun-ganun. Nakita niyo pag nakikipag-away sila, di ba? May mga fortress sila, mga wood logs. Nandun sila sa taas ng mga wood logs. Diba? Tapos minsan, pag nilalabanan nila yung umaakyat ng mga walls, di ba? Mga flame fires. Okay? O, yung pinaka na lang, madali, Lord of the Rings. Nakita ninyo kung paano umaakyat ang mga kalaban sa mga boundary walls and fortresses. So, ibig sabihin, ang lahat ng mga settlement na yan ay merong boundary and fortresses. Because they are going to protect the center of their power. Diyan naka-imbak yung kanilang mga resources, mga storages, and everything. And then the rest of those settlements are outside of the wall. Yun na yung mga bahay-bahay. Tama? Okay. So, itong ganitong klase ng pattern na to ay makikita natin sa earliest civilization, mostly sa Africa. Hanggang ngayon, ganyan pa rin yung kanilang communal way of planning their cities. So it's more of a defensive architecture as forts, okay? Then from that idea started with more stable materials. Before they're using wood, now they're going to use more stable materials like brick and masonries. Okay. Yung rectilinear planning naman sa labas na. Magkakaroon ka pa rin ng circular planning sa loob, but those are for the powerful o kaya yung mga pinuno. Pero the rest, lalo na pagka nag-aral kayo ng Mexican architecture, makikita ninyo na may mga street na para sa mga mamamayan nila. It's more seen as agricultural settlements. Okay? Okay, now, so as you can see, nag-start tayo sa cave, no? And then, those are the stone ages. Then we go to Bronze Age. Nung natuto yung mga tao na maglinang ng mga minerals from the bato using fire, they were able to get minerals, necessary minerals, to make it more stable as metal. Okay? This city of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, itong city na to is nasa modern day Pakistan. Okay? Ayan, yan ang itsura niya. Ayun, no? This is India. This is Pakistan now. Sa kabila yung Bangladesh. Okay? So, meron dalawang big rivers yan. Okay? Dito yung Indus, Ganges yung sa kabila. Sa Indian architecture, ang mga river ay very sacred. Kaya minsan, meron sila mga festival, annually, naliligo sila doon sa mga ilog nila. Eh, tama ba? Meron silang festival eh. Diyan sa naliligo sila sa ang dami-dami nila talaga. Halos mapuno nila yung kanilang ilog. Okay, so in that Indus Valley, city of Mohenjo-Daro, meron silang tinatawag na citadel. Ano itong citadel na to? This is the administrative seat of their government and other public buildings as temples and public baths. Noong araw guys, ang public bath, as in public talaga. Sa Roman architecture, makakakita kayo ng mga structure na dedicated doon sa swimming pool, mga sauna, anything na pang-wellness ng tao. So that started from the cities of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Then you have Bronze Age 1900 before Common Era to 800 before Common Era. Yellow River, here, this one, and the Yangtze. Okay, so there are two rivers traversing China, okay, which is the precursor of the linear cities as you can see right now. So, the first dynastic capital of China is in Anyang, in the Henan province in central China. And then Beijing is approximately on the same location where the existing Anyang city noong araw in central China during the Ming Dynasty. If you come back to history, ang dami-daming dynasty ng China. Hindi ko alam kung nanood kayo ng Last Emperor before naging komunista ang China. Okay. Yung mga panahon na yon, Shanghai is a very, very cosmopolitan city na may Western influence. Kasi bakit? Bakit may Western influence? Does the name Marco Polo ring a bell? Marco Polo is a merchant that travels from Europe going to China. At siya ang unang-unang sumulat ng mga travels na yan, anong mga nakita niya sa China, pinagmalaki niya yung mga silk ng mga tela ng China, bla bla bla. Kaya doon, alam niyo yung dinaanan ni Marco Polo, yun ang tinatawag nating Silk Road ngayon. Ang Silk Road ngayon, yung mga countries like Armenia, mga Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, bla 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 bla. Central Asian countries, yan ang Silk Road na tinatawag natin. Yun yung dinaanan ng mga Western colonizers, Western explorers going to China. Okay? Kaya yung palitan ng trade at ng kultura, eventually, makikita ninyo sa mga cities sa China, lalong-lalo na sa Shanghai. Okay? Yeah. By the way, I've been to Shanghai, no, Xiamen, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, mga Chinese cities na yan. And you can still see some remnants of those heritage buildings associated with Western civilization. Yung Beijing lang hindi ko napuntahan. Okay. Alright, so okay. So very clear tayo dyan. So you have Yellow River and the Yangtze. Now, as we can see here in Mesoamerican architecture, magtataka kayo, merong pyramid sa Egypt, meron din pyramid sa Mesoamerica. Okay? So, most likely, makikita ninyo, ang Egypt kasi, ang kanyang pyramid is tapered eh. Dito, step. Okay? Yung pinakataas nito, pag ano ba yung Apokalipto na pelikula? Apokalipto, it actually mentions, two warring tribes. Kapag natalo kita, lahat ng mga pinuno na yan, dadalhin doon sa tuktok. Pupugutan ng ulo dyan. Yung mga dugo and everything, meron silang doon, meron silang parang tawag dito, parang mga networks of tawag dito, mga kanal na maliliit drainage.
Napanood nila yung sir, yung Apokalipto. Ganun yun, yung movie na Apokalipto.
Apokalipto, ganun. Ganun na ganun. Okay? Ngayon, ang ginagawa ng mga tribo noong araw, parang part ng mga tao. Kung sino yung mga pinakamalalakas, parang may cannibalism na tinatawag. They believe that the power is going to be transferred. So, ganon. Okay? So, there are actually so many cities that happen, pero mostly ng mga nakikita nilang mga heritage site nandito sa site na to. Malapit, actually, this area, they call it Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, dyan makikita, boundary ng Guatemala, Belize, tsaka Mexico. By the way, dito sa area na to, walang rivers. Ayan, yan ang exception. Civilization ng Mesoamerica na hindi, walang river. Alam niyo kung bakit? Marami sa kanila, marami sa kanila yung underground river. Okay? Nasa ilalim ang mga river systems nila. Meron sila yung parang mga sinkhole na malalaki na almost like 500 meter deep. Nandun lahat yung water basin, tapos those water basins are actually connected with many underground rivers. Maraming galon, mga nakapackmark na mga areas. Hindi ko na matandaan kung anong tao. Basta may ganon. Okay? Doon sila kumukuha ng tubig nila. Okay? Alright. So that's the part of their huge part of their daily life. Ang dami-daming terminologies like Teotihuacan, blah blah blah. By the way, Mexico City, the modern Mexico City right now is actually a lake, a dried up lake. Okay? Now, Pero ano yun, man-made. Man-made lake. Okay. Pagka inaral nyo maigi, yung itong civilization na nandito, Zapotec, Mextec, Olmecs, Aztecs, and everything, then from there, bumaba na sila papunta doon sa sa Inca. Inca Peru, kung saan kayo pupunta ng Machu Picchu and everything, blah blah blah. Okay? Alright, so nakita natin doon sa parang pinaka natin, diagram natin. So halos merong simultaneous na pag-usbong ng mga civilization. Ito yung sinasabi ko, this is the classical Greek, no? And one of the islands there are Cyprus. So the Greek town planning most likely nag-start sa mga isla before nagpunta sa mainland. Okay? So the first one, the town that was formulated by Hippodamus, no, a planner from Miletus. So yan. So it started with the Greek form. Okay? In one of the peninsula. Ang peninsula, ang tawag natin, hindi peninsula Qatar, ha? By the way, peninsula. Ang Qatar ay peninsula. Ibig sabihin nito is nakausbong na landmass going to the water body. Na almost like 3 sides of that area is surrounded by water. Kaya papapansin niyo, di ba, ang nakadikit lang naman sa Qatar sa bandang south is, di ba, sa side na ng Saudi, napakaliit lang. Pero the rest of the area mayroong natural shoreline. So that's what you call peninsula. So, ganun yung nag-start, no? It's an area wherein there is a rectilinear form pattern of blocks. And it was planned by Hippodamus. Okay? So now, here, polis means city. That's the root word. Polis, pag neo, new. Paleo means old. Kaya nga paleontology. Paleontology means old. Okay? And then this one, an ancient Greek town. Up to now, it is still existing. Sa Turkey. Now, the town planning derived from the Greek principles, further developed by Roman. Okay, ano ba yung pinaka dapat natin matandaan? Although they are Greek form, but they have this what you call Cardo and Cardo and Decumanus. Okay. Decumanus is oriented from east to west, and the Cardo is from north to south. Ayan, ganito. Okay? So those are the entrances. Guys, pag pumunta kayo ng Jerusalem, maraming gate. Okay. Ang pinaka-popular is the Damascus Gate. So it is more like parang it's some iterations, but definitely it is very important kung saan nakasituate yung mga gate na yun. Okay? And then when they are doing all of this planning, meron na sila sinesegregate na zoning. Saan yung public bath nila, saan yung amphitheater, mga sports administrative seat of the government. So then it is going to be enclosed by a fortress wall. So ganon yung mga Roman town planning. Ang lagi natin tatandaan when it comes to Roman town planning is about the orientation of main streets from east to west and north to south. So here, dahil sabi ko nga, malaki yung imperyo ng Romano na umabot hanggang India, hanggang sa north side ng north ng Africa. So you can see all of those street planning from Roman era. So you have Cardo, Apamea, Syria, so meaning north to south. Cardo, Petra, Jordan. Yeah. So yun nga, napuntahan ko nga rin ito. Then, Decumanus means from east to west. So Palmyra in Syria. Sayang, no? Binomba rin ito ng Taliban. So konti na lang nakikita natin dito. Okay. Roman town planning. Then there are many types of Roman towns. Oppidum, we call it a commercial town. Because sabi ko nga, maraming satellite cities ang mga Romano. So for them to effectively manage their mga nasasakupan, So meron silang dinedesignate na mga satellite, na mga administrative region. Depends on what kind of town it is. Let's say, if it is very near the ocean, and seas or water bodies, most likely it's delivery of goods, commercial town. Opidum Castrum is more of a military outpost. Okay? So they are all connected by transport networks, which we call the Appian Way. Ibig sabihin nun, it's Macadam Street. Macadam Street is a combination of large stones plus binders. Okay. Kung saan yung mga chariot doon dadaan. Okay. So, sabi natin, may part ng history, medieval. Sabi natin, dark ages daw yon. Actually, medieval ages are not dark history. Diyan unang nag-isip ang mga tao ng mga bagong kaalaman sa medieval. Medieval ages also is the Gothic. Gothic architecture is medieval. So meaning, from Romanesque period up to Renaissance rebirth, lahat yon medieval ages yon. So paano natin sasabihin na dark age yon? Nandoon nag-start yung lahat ng kaalaman. So most of these medieval towns, as you can see kanina, di ba may circular pattern tayo of all of those wood bales. These are the foundation of Roman outpost town. So nung lumaki yan, kung nasasakupan nila mula Syria, Persia and everything, meron silang mga military outpost. Kanina sabi natin ang military outpost ay ano yung military outpost? Castrum. Okay, marami silang castrum sa mga areas na nasasakupan. So from there, of course, syempre nag-settle down na yung kanilang mga colonizers. Then definitely there will be intermarriages with the locals. Then eventually they will settle down. Of course, they need churches, they need castles, rise of feudalism, mga manors, di ba? Yung mga manors na halos mala Kastilyo yung mga kabahayan. The last time na nagturo ako, I told you from the Gothic architecture, the High Gothic is also transferring the kind of architecture from churches going to their own residences, kaya may mga castles. Okay. Then the medieval town in Germany, this is the first one, Essen, Germany. So you have the enclosing wall, the early settlements, and later expanded to the community settlements with that enclosing wall. Mapapansin niyo guys, it's a series of walls. So you have the inner wall for the center of power, and then another one, you have another wall, and then another circle. Alam niyo ba yung Hacienda Lucita, ganyan din? Yung mga hacienda ng mga Aquinos, ganyan. May series of walls. So, ganyan, parang medieval din ang dating. Okay? Constantinople, Istanbul is like this. May mga series of walls din. Okay? So, pag nakubkob ng mga mananakot, una mo na lang didibain yung outer. Okay? So, bago ka makarating doon, kailangan mo munang malupig lahat ng mga ito. Okay? So, you have the medieval ages started. Di ba, sabi natin, saan nag-start ang Romanesque, guys? Sa Italy, di ba? Okay? So you have cities like Florence in 14th century, AD na. Ibig sabihin, Common Era, CE, 14, 1,400, right? Grew to population of 90,000 sa Florence. Okay? Then, Venice, world trading during the Byzantine era. Okay? Population grew to 240,000. Then, London, before, when those Florence and cities of Florence and Venice is flourishing, ang London ay isang military outpost lang. Okay? So that is where feudalism affected the urban design of most towns. So that was the time when London, okay, pag napapanood nyo yung mga pelikula about Shakespeare, Kita ninyo mga kalsada nila doon is puro mga dito. Madumi, yung mga kinakatay na baboy na binebenta, yung mga dugo-dugo doon din sa street na yun, mga ganyan. Okay? Kaya nga nagkaroon ng mga plague dahil doon. Okay? Dahil madaming totoo yun. Yung bubonic plague and everything. Blah, blah, blah. So that's how nag-evolve yung tamang pagpaplano ng mga city. Ano ba dapat? Ano ba tama? Ano bang sanitation? Blah, blah, blah. Then you have Siena. Siena in Italy also is very good. Maraming heritage buildings doon. And the modern day Istanbul o Constantinople. So they are all anchored towards church. Dahil doon sa city na yon nagkaroon ng church building. Okay? And most of the people are actually staying there because of their religious persuasions. Then there are many coastal towns that grew from military outposts, so military fortresses. And those expansions are limited. Kaya nga mamaya aaralin natin si ano eh. Sino ba ito? Basta meron yung limit boundary ng pag-grow ng city. Okay? Yeah. Unless those coastal towns right now, if you want to expand them, you can expand them by reclamation. Magdadagdag ka ng lupa. To expand the city so that it can support the large population. Alright, before anything else, now, ano sa tingin ninyo ang rason kung bakit lumalaki yung population ng city? Base doon sa mga dinidiscuss ko kanina. Ano ang prime na motivation? Bakit lumalaki ang population ng isang city or town? Kayo na lang guys, bakit kayo mag-i-stay sa isang lugar ng matagal? Bakit?
Kasi andun na po yung lahat ng kailangan. Yung needs.
Ano na? Livelihood?
Opo.
Livelihood. Means, noong araw, wala tayong pinagkaiba sa mga hunter-gatherer. Naghahanap tayo ng lugar kung saan tayo makakakuha ng pagkain. Tama? Okay. And since, mamaya aaralin natin hanggang sa Industrial Revolution, na natuto tayong mag-manufacture ng mga produkto, ang tawag na natin doon sa pagkain ay resource. Resources. Nandito tayo sa Doha, nag-abroad tayo kasi nga gusto natin kumita ng pera, correct? And it of livelihood, source of livelihood. Wala tayong pinagkaiba sa mga sinaunang tao. The motivation is still where the food is. Okay, saan ako po pwedeng masustain yung pagkuha ko ng pagkain and everything. Lahat ng pangangailangan ko. So, do you know the Maslow's hierarchy? The pyramid of needs? Diba? Basic, food, shelter, blah blah blah, blah blah. Hanggang sa pinakamataas, ano yung pinakamataas? Is yung self-actualization. Means you have everything. And the last thing that you need is the applause of people telling you that you are a very good person and everything, blah blah blah. Set of awards. Those are self-actualization. Okay? Tama? Meron pa yon sa mga pyramid. Kung love of family, love of friends and everything, nandun yon sa gitna. Hanggang sa maabot mo yung pinnacle ng Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Guys, puro ano tayo ngayon, theory. So, theory, how things are going. So, these are the medieval ages. Now, kailan pumunta si Magellan sa Pinas? Anong era yun? Anong year? 1500s, right? O, pipili ko lang ngayon, Magellan. Okay. So after those feudal towns, sabi natin, dalawa ang pinaka-main na towns. Commercial town and military outpost. Okay. So magtapos na mag-develop itong mga to, the people, mga Portugal, Spain, Italy, Europe, Denmark, they wanted to explore. So mula dyan sa mga lugar na yan, nag-explore sila para maghanap ng mga bagong kalupaan. Anong motivation ni Magellan? Bakit siya nagpunta ng anong hinahanap niya?
Spices.
Spices, very good. Okay. Pero naligaw siya. Nagkamali yung kanilang yung kanilang compass.
Akala ko
Napunta sila sa north part. Yung spices kasi guys, makikita nyo sa Molucca. Moluccas. Molucca is the modern day Malaysia. Nandun yung mga spices. So ibig sabihin, hindi sumakto ang target ng kanilang barko. Napunta sila sa Pilipinas. Okay. Alright. So meaning, by the way, si Magellan ay isang Portuguese. Pero dahil hindi siya sinuportahan ng Portugal sa kanyang exploration, inoffer niya ang serbisyo niya sa Espanya. So ang Espanya ang nagpadala ng mga armada. Sabihin armada, mga malalaka. Actually, yung exploration ni Magellan, hindi lang isang ship, 14 ships yun. 14. Pero ang umabot doon sa area ng Southeast Asia, parang ilan na lang. Kasi yung iba nasira. Binagyo. Sinira ng mga daluyan na malalaki, ng mga ocean waves. Okay? Ayan. And then here, as you can see, yung America, yung name na America guys, it's taken from Amerigus Vespucci. Okay. So, pero hindi kay Columbus Sabi nila, ang unang nag-discover ng America, Columbus. That is true. Pero yung name na America is from the name of explorer, Amerigus Vespucci. Okay. So, ito lahat ng mga explorer. No? Yan. So, lahat ng mga ruta nila and everything, blah, blah, blah. So, it's more of a mercantilist city. So, Manila is a mercantilist city. Acapulco in Mexico is mercantilist city. By the way, the galleon trade existed for almost like 200 years. Ang pagka-travel mula Manila papuntang Acapulco, Mexico, it takes around 2 years. Back and forth. Kung meron akong produkto from Pilipinas, dadalhin ko sa Mexico. May produkto sa Mexico, dadalhin ko sa Pilipinas. Kasi, ang mga teritoryo ng Espanya, ang tawag nila ay Viceroyalty o Viceroy. Okay? So there is, guys, when I was looking at the history, we are more Mexicans than being Spanish. Mga salita natin almost like Mexican. Mga pagkain natin almost like Mexican. Hindi more on Spanyol. Okay? Kasi yan ang madalas natin ka-trade. Mexico and Philippines. Kaya nga pag nagpunta kayo ng Mexico, iisipin niyo parang Pilipinas lang din. Okay. So these are all the mercantilist ideas when all of those earliest civilizations or towns by Roman Empire started to flourish, okay, and explore other parts of the world. Alright. Ito na yung Renaissance. So we have Renaissance. It updates how the cities is being formed. So you have these town squares or plaza. Yan. Makikita ninyo last time sa theory natin, di ba pinakitaan ko kayo yung mga line, mga point. Those are the ideas on how you are going to look at the design. Pero yung mga monument actually nasa gitna ng plaza. You will see that people are actually gathering themselves. And then you will see that in one area of the plaza is where you can see the church, the administrative building, and the public market. Okay? So yung idea na yan, guys, dinala rin yan sa Pilipinas. Kaya halos ng mga tao natin ganyan. Sa plaza, makakakita ka ng public market, katabi yung administrative town, city hall, or municipal building, and then you have this, what do you call, church. Okay? So, it started from way back, Renaissance. So these are the Ito guys, pag nakita ninyo on top view, aerial view, ito ang itsura ng mga cities ng araw. Those are medieval cities. So just imagine, meron pa dito monumento, and then the streets, and everything, blah blah blah, mga gardens, in between mga settlements, blah blah blah. Pero may itsura. Okay? They are all radially symmetrical cities, blah 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 blah. Okay. So ano mga example? This one. It's a realized plan by Pilarete. You see, there is plaza here, and then the streets, and then going to another satellite open spaces plaza, and then sa labas nitong mga ano na to, ng mga configuration na to, nandoon yung mga bahay-bahay ng kanilang mga komunidad. Okay. So Intramuros is like this as well. Okay? Sa labas ng walled city ng Intramuros may mga settlements. Even sa loob, meron pa rin mga slum sila, no? O hopefully sana maayos ng ano yung City of Manila. Then Palma Nova, Adiel City in Italy. In between, you will see some gardens, you know, and then you have the old tower there as a symbol of power, blah blah blah. And then, itong nakikita niyo sa labas na to, ito yung tubig na, yung ditch na may tubig. We call it moat, M-O-A-T. Minsan, di ba, bago ka pumasok doon, di ba may carriageway na gano'n, may drawbridge. Okay? Hindi ka makakapasok kapag hindi binaba yung yung drawbridge. And then, kunwari, ikaw ay preso, gusto mong tumakas, no? Tatalunin mo muna yan, tapos doon nalalamuyin mo muna yung water bago ka makapunta sa kabila. And madalas, itong mga area na ito, may mga sila, may mga patibong. Hindi ka basta-basta makakatakas. Okay?
May buwan.
So, ang sarap manood ngayon ng mga medieval na mga base na mga pelikula, may mga ganyan. Manonood ako ng mga ganyan. So, something to do with architecture. O ngayon, yan na yung itsura.
Hindi mo pwede.
Okay? Satellite image ng Palma Nova. Of course, natuyo na siguro. Natuyo na yan. So may vegetation na lang. Then you have the modern day Milan. So the modern day Milan is an urban planning concept by Leonardo da Vinci from his Codex Atlanticus. Guys, yung mga matatalino ng araw, kapag ka nakaka-invento sila, ang tawag nila sa mga invention na codex. Codex Atlanticus, Codex blah blah blah, Codex blah blah blah. So they are actually documenting their ideas. Okay? So these are sketchbooks from Leonardo da Vinci which was realized in the city of Milan. Ano ba ang Milan ngayon guys? It's a center of what? Center of design ng Milan guys. Okay? Lagi tayong merong biennial doon ng mga furniture, blah blah blah. Ewan ko. Joa, company ninyo nang pupunta ba ng Milan kapag may mga biennial for furniture? Oo. Lahat ng mga furniture designers, lahat as in, doon lagi annually ang expo. Okay? Alright. Actually, last week, inatenan ko itong history ni Leonardo da Vinci. Okay. Talagang matalino. Napakadami ng alam. Okay. Okay, so Baroque planning is inspired by French landscape architecture. So, i-picture ninyo sa isip ninyo yung Versailles. Diba yung mga manicured gardens na parang mga chess pieces? Diba? So, ganun. Last time, meron tayong image nun, di ba? Yung Versailles. So, those city planning with vegetation, boulevards, vistas, mall, sa Washington DC, the mall, okay? Promenade, okay? Lahat ng mga nilalakaran mo na gusto mong ma-enjoy yung sceneries and everything. Sa design ng landscape, meron kang monuments, may iba ka pang mga upuan doon and everything, site furnishing. This is the remnants of Baroque planning. Okay? So, pinapaganda. Ornamentation. So, madaming ornamentation. So, city, beautiful movement. Okay? Those are the remnants of that one. So they made a planning of large expanses of terrain to beautify the surroundings, picturesque. Okay. Then you have this idea. Okay, so kung magki-create ka ng mga large landscape areas, definitely you have civic buildings. What I told you about civic architecture is these are spaces that are intended for the public use. Okay, picnic group ng mga tao or whatever. Alright, principle was first used in forest landscape and master plan using principles were drawn from for London after the Great Fire of 1666. Okay. Versailles. Ayan, no? So, top view. Okay, so ganyan ang itsura. Nagplano sila ng mga cities. You will see major avenues, boulevards, and then you have this is straight line. Okay. So you have the amphitheater there, and then all of those pockets of open spaces. Maybe there are some kind of monuments there. So magandang mag-explore. These are planned according to Baroque principle. Okay. So any questions before we proceed? Okay tayo? Clear? Okay. Now, we're going to aralin muna natin yung evolution kung paano ang residence or house. So, early configurations niya, of course, the cave dwellings. Guys, alam nyo, arkitekto kayong lahat. Okay. You need to be very interested in art, in culture, in almost everything that has something to do with your profession. When you see posts talking about early civilization, heritage, you need to read them. Paano nyo ma-appreciate itong mga ganitong klaseng pinag-uusapan natin about town planning, what is cave dwelling, saan yan? Oh. Hanggang ngayon, dinidiscover nila anong pinaka-earliest na form, paano unang nag-drawing ang mga tao sa mga kuweba. Mga sinaunang tao, nag-drawing sila ng mga itsura ng mga hayop na nakita nila sa era na yon. Pero ito, makikita ninyo to sa Spain. Okay? There was one cave there in Spain na ito makikita ninyo, puro mga drawing ng mga sinaunang mga hayop. And then may isa pang mountain face. Dinrawing talaga ng mga ninuno natin yung mga stick figures ng mga sinaunang hayop. At ang unang na mga drawing nasa Indonesia ngayon, sa Sulawesi Island. So, puro mga kamay, ganon. Kamay ng mga ninuno natin, tapos parang ini-spray paint. And then yung mga itsura ng mga baboy. Okay? So, yan yung earliest form of dwelling natin. Okay? Yung mga kuweba ay itinuring na means of refuge from heat, rain, and wind ng ating mga ninuno. Okay, ayan. Actually, itong Tabon Cave na to said to be sheltered earliest man of the Philippines. Now it is being debunked. Mas maaga pa yung sa Callao Cave sa Cagayan. Okay? So, doon sila nakakita ng isang form ng tao. They call it Homo luzonensis. Okay? Di ba meron tayong Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, blah blah blah. So sa Pilipinas, meron tayong ambag. Mas nauna pa tayo, Homo luzonensis. Okay? Sa may Cagayan. Okay? And then we are actually starting to use implements of nature, mga dahon-dahon, okay? Lianto. Diba? So meron tayong, alam nyo guys na meron tayong certain na mga residences, right? Na, diba right now meron tayong tinatawag na, hi po.
Kahit po.
Kahit po tayo. Meron tayong ngayon, uso sa architecture natin, naka-lean, di ba? Bumabalik na naman tayo sa dati. It's a original idea, no? Gumagamit tayo ng mga ganyan, tree houses. Nakakalungkot hanggang ngayon, ang mga ibang tao sa mundo, alam nila Pilipinas, nakatira sa tree houses. Okay. So, ayan, yung mga katutubo na.
Mababalo lang.
Sweden farming means agriculture land, you want to settle them. Noong araw guys, hindi pa tayo marunong magtanim. Sinusunog pa natin yung mga puno, mga shrubs para kumuha ng pagkain natin. Yan yung pinagsimulan ng kainin. Okay? Then you have the Mangyan house, mountain houses. Noong araw kasi lumalabas to sa exam eh. Okay? So yan yung mga balik guys, alam nyo, nung umakyat ako papumunta ako ng ng Banawe. Yes. Sabi ko nga, nagpunta ako dun sa sa isang resort. 6 na ganito meron. Oo. Tapos nag-rent ako ng one night. Sinubukan kong tumira sa ganito. Okay, so ayan. So nasubukan ko yan. Itong hagdan kinukuha. Aakyat mo. Para walang makakaakyat dun sa lugar mo habang natutulog ka. Okay. So ayan, yun yung pali. Kapag nakasuspend. Pagka naman on ground, abong ang tawag. Okay? Discover nyo rin ang Pilipinas, guys. Umikot kayo. Okay. Then Binuron, in Cordillera region. So marami yan. Okay. Payong, and at Katchupong, in Bontoc areas. Okay. Then coastal, you have the Taosu, okay, building a Taosu house, and then they have this, they have a very distinct na bawat poste may meaning yun. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yan yung ibig sabihin. Like for example, yung pangsyam, okay, yan daw ng tao, bla 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 bla. Pangwalo, leeg ng tao, bla bla bla. So napaka-importante ng orientation sa kanila. And then you have the boat houses. Okay? Nakarating sa Pilipinas, yung mga sinaunang civilization ng Indonesia papunta sa atin using boat houses. So hanggang ngayon, may ganyan pa rin mga Badja, they are being called as sea gypsies. Okay. And then, Torogan in Maranao, very sikat kasi yan dahil yung dulo ng parang perimeter, merong parang ornament, no? May meaning yon yung mga design na yan. Actually may inatinan akong seminar, in-explain talaga kung paano yung paano yung design. Okay? Dahil yung mga arkitekto na taga Mindanao, they will really explain to you ano yung mga meaning ng mga patterns na yan. So it's pag kami ganyan ka, you are part of the royal family. And other Maranao houses, small houses on stilts, okay? Alright? So yung mga ninuno natin na banda ng Zamboanga, no, sa area ng Southern Mindanao, they are on, pag sinabi natin on stilts guys, on stilt, nakaposte. On stilt. May tubig. Tapos may poste, tapos nakaangat yung mga kabahayan. On stilt ang tawag doon. Okay? So just imagine, sa dami ng bagyong dumadaan sa atin, madalas nasisira yan, pero we are still rebuilding them. So ganyan ka-resilient yung mga mga ibang katutubo sa atin. So you have this first settlement in Katalhuyog, Turkey. It's a Neolithic site. So it's mud houses built upon on each other, and then the roofs becoming a terrace of another settlement. Okay, composed of those domestic buildings, and then in ancient Egypt, until now ganyan sila. Mapapansin niyo ang uri ng pagpaplano sa Arabic countries, medyo secluded. mayroong mga internal na mga atrium where they can actually have. Okay? So any kind of activity is unseen from the outside. So ganyan. Okay? So there are a social separation. So it's made of sun-dried mud, bricks, and stone, and it's more patriarchal. Ibig sabihin, ang tatay ang pinuno ng bahay. Pag matriarchal, ibig sabihin, nanay. Ang matriarchal society, guys, mga Italiano. Kaya nga may Mamma Mia. Tawag nila Mamma Mia kasi nga, parang pag sinabi ng pinakapinunong nanay, walang magagawa lahat. Okay. Panoorin nyo yung Godfather. Then you have this in Greek architecture. Okay? Ito yung itsura talaga ng bahay. So oikos is the basic unit in their society of most of the Greek city-states. Okay? Oikos means usually for the oldest male and his extended family, wife and children enslaved, living together in one complex, in one domestic complex. Okay? So maraming rooms. Okay? And then there is a central courtyard. Okay? So, it differs from the Roman domus. So, sa Greek oikos, sa Roman domus. Okay, paano naman yun, yung domus? So, the house is occupied by the upper classes and some wealthy freedmen in Republican and Imperial eras. So, ang domus, may parts by parts, by parts by parts. So, you have atrium, impluvium, which is the swimming pool, and then you have the courtyard with gardens, with peristyle, yung arrangement ng mga columns and everything. And these are all the other parts of that domus. So atrium, vestibulium, porticulum, colina, blah 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 blah. Okay. So ibig sabihin, suburban ito guys. Wala ito sa sa pinaka-sentro ng city. Lalakbay ka muna ng madami. Diba? Mga subdivision nung araw. Pagka naka-subdivision ka, kasi malayo ka pa ng konti sa city. Para makabuo ka ng malaking structure na katulad nito with all of those mga areas or spaces.
Ay, wala silang.
Then insula, apartment building, urban. Ibig sabihin nasa city. Ayan, apartment. So madami yan. Okay? Ordinary people of lower and middle class status, wealthiest from the upper and middle class. Pero madalas ang gumagamit ito yung mga nagtatrabaho sa mga factory during the Industrial Revolution. Okay? And then, of course, pag mayaman na mayaman ka, you have the villa. Okay? Roman country house. Ibig sabihin, nandun ka na sa malayo. Maaaring nasa Tuscany ka na. I remember films, yung mga pinipil sa Tuscany skies, Tuscany land. Kasi yung mga olive groves yun, kitang-kita. Then there are two types of villa, urbana and rustica. Okay? The urbana means very near Rome, and rustica is farmhouse estate. Okay? So manors. Okay, in modern English countryside, they call it manor, pero kay Italia, villa rustica. Okay, so this is the Roman villa. So you still have the domus, same as the domus. You have all of these implements and everything. Okay. Still, up to now, mga Italiano na mayayaman, may ganyan pa rin hanggang ngayon. So those are the evolution of the city. Okay, so any question about it? Very important kasi na makita ninyo yung evolution ng house. And then from house, going to the town. Kasi pagka pinagsama-sama nyo yung mga types of housing units, then you can actually create the picture of the whole town and eventually the whole city. Now, industrial city happens when, because of the invention of engine in 1769. Okay. So it ushers the machine age. Okay? Pero may problema. Nung nagkaroon ng maraming factory sa city, syempre dinungog ng tao. Sabi natin, ang tao pupunta because of livelihood. So titira sila sa mga hindi katulad ng Oikos o Domos. Tama? Hindi sila titira sa mga insula. Hindi sila titira sa Villa Urbana o Villa bla bla bla. So sila ay magsisiksikan malapit doon sa city. Wherein, ang mangyayari because of maraming tao, kulang sa supply ng tubig, kulang sa sanitation, bla bla bla. So ito na yung issue. Congestion, safety hazard, air water pollution. Nangyari yan sa napakaraming cities sa mundo wherein nagkaroon ng plague na halos maraming namatay. Bubonic plague, bla 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 bla. O paano nangyari yun? It's because of prevalence of pests, prevalence of rodents, bla bla bla, na transfer yung mga sakit sa mga tao. Then eventually transfer. Okay. Did we learn something from the COVID? Yung nangyayari sa COVID, actually nangyari na noon. So anong problema natin, by the way? Saan nag-start ang COVID? Sanitation, right? Am I right? Tama ba? I think yung mga tao daw nakakain doon ng may sakit na hayop. Which is nakakain naman ng ng dumi ng isang may sakit na bla bla bla. Bat daw yun, tama bats? Bats ba?
Opo.
Okay. Bakit nagkaroon ng gano'n? Kasi yung mga bats may natural habitat. Na disturb. Alam niyo ba na kapag nagtutumba tayo ng forest, yung natural habitat ng mga hayop, they're getting disturbed. Then eventually there will become a situation wherein because of the disturbance of biodiversity, merong nag-change sa pattern. Maaari sa pagdumi ng mga hayop, blah blah blah, and then eventually transferred into another human living organism. Then eventually ingested by humans through food. Then eventually human to human contact and everything blah blah blah. So, ang problema ng araw about developments ay hindi nalalayo sa present natin situation ngayon. So that's why we are into planning of towns and cities. Tinatry natin i-manage lahat. No? Na habang lumalaki, rapid urbanization, we still need to plan them accordingly. Okay, so when they have seen this, many of those people na alam nyo na, mga urban theorists like Tony Garnier, as early as 1868 to 1948, he envisions a cité industrial, a self-contained new settlement with its own industries and housing close by. Ito hindi nalalayo. Pagka meron tayong mga eco-zone sa Pinas, may mga factory. Di ba, yung mga factory worker, may mga settlements din doon. Meron din silang school, meron din silang church, meron din silang bla bla bla. Hindi na nila kailangang lumayo. Yung subdivision na para sa kanila, paglabas lang nila doon malapit sa gate, meron na silang neighborhood stores, bla 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 bla. So anong ibig ko sabihin dito? The idea of creating such eco-zone ay hindi pinagkaiba noon. Ginawa na rin nila yan noon. Okay? So, ang maganda lang, meron na tayong planning system, may sanitation na tayo, meron ng collection ng basura, blah blah blah, and everything. Okay? So, now, ang unang naging resulta ng pagpaplano ng isang factory industrial city, zoning. Ano ibig sabihin ng zoning? Zino-zone mo, pag pinlano mo siya, o dito yung educational, o dito yung recreational, o dito yung ganito. So kapag divide mo na yon, yun tawag natin zoning. Okay? Ay, wala na ako signal. Ayaw niya na sa atin. Ayan. Okay. So, those are the ideas from Tony Garnier from a self-contained new settlements in an industrial city. It was taken by Dutch architect Oud in the design of Rotterdam. Pagka pumunta na tayo sa Scandinavian, lahat na Amsterdam, Rotterdam, blah blah blah, lahat ng dam, Randstad, These are all about cities, okay? Okay, so nakita ninyo, is a combination now. So you have the grid form, okay? Hindi ko pa napapansin yung radial, blah blah blah. But this very, the way it was planned, okay, very near the water body. Okay, pansinin niyo, in one area there is a sewage plant. Ano yun? What is a sewage plant? Ibig sabihin, lahat ng dumi mula doon sa mga houses, they're being collected in one planning pipe. Alam niyo ba ang pipe ng araw, lead pa? Ng araw, hindi plastic. Clay pipes, and then they are all connected by vacuum, blah blah blah. Guys, alam niyo yon sa planning niyo. Okay, then it goes to the sewage plant to filter and everything before i-dispose sa river. Hindi ka pwedeng magdirekta sa river kasi river, pinanggagalingan ng inumin ng mga tao, all of this, di ba kumukuha ng kakainin mo sa river, and yet, you have a very near city where in fact, all of those sewages are going there. Tama? Okay. Alright, so another part is the transportation. Is a key to industrialization. So, okay, ayaw mo silang magkumpol-kumpol sa city. Ayaw mo magkaroon ng slum area doon kasi nandun yung factory. So, ilalayo mo sila ngayon doon sa isang area or suburban areas na doon ka pwede maglagay ng subdivision. Tapos, pwede mo silang i-transport using bus o kaya train. Pagpapasok sila sa trabaho. And then, ganun lang yun guys. Depopulation nandito sa industry. Pag natapos ang trabaho, alas 5, babalik lahat sila sa subdivision. That's the night population. It's the same thing in New York. May isang area doon na puro ang building, puro mga offices. Sa daytime, ang dami-daming tao. Pero pag nighttime, uwian na, wala ka na halos makikitang tao doon. Unless, ngayon, uso na yung DPO, ang mga tao hindi trabaho na rin sa gabi, graveyard shift. Kaya may mga nakabukas na mga tindahan and everything. Pero nung araw, after nila magtrabaho, uuwi sila lahat sa mga suburbs. Okay. And one of the elements, paano sila uuwi? Transportation. But that's not important. So, meaning, needs to have improved roads, railways, blah, blah, blah. And then, all planners needs to do is to plan accordingly how it will be done. Ano ba yan? Magtatayo ba tayo ng concrete na mga aqueduct? Parang suspended na mga train station, blah, blah, blah. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng mga buildings na dinidesign for civic buildings and transportation. So, ang unang-unang nagplano niyan is a Spanish engineer who suggested the idea of a linear city. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng mga buildings nakalinya sa isang diretsong daan or main avenue or main highway. That's what we call 1844 by Arturo Soria Imada. And then, his idea has been picked up by other cities in Europe, okay, like Petersburg in Russia, okay, and then they are proposing high-speed, high-intensity transport, okay, for these linear cities. So ito yung tsura. Yeah, linear city. So kanina, sabi natin rectilinear, no form. Ano yung dalawang pinagsimulan ng city planning natin? Rectilinear and curvilinear, right? So this one is a rectilinear form. So ngayon, yung mga subdivision, meron lang access road. Industries, public plazas and everything, administrative, blah, blah, blah. So they have this. So they have adopted it in 1930 in Stalingrad, in modern day Russia. Okay? And then, you can see here, sa baba, so kung makikita ninyo yung ganitong hatches, means dwellings, then the roads, and then all of these greenery spaces, factories. Okay? So, natututo na sila mag-drawing ng mga ganyan na naka-legend na lahat. Okay, dito ang pwesto, nag-zoning na sila, dito ang dwelling, dito ang green space, dito ang factories, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So there is a reform movement, okay? Because yung linear city guys, meron lang certain population na kaya. Parang nung pag umabot na yung population naman 240, na katao. So hindi na siya epektibo yung linear city. So I have to do a new way of planning the city. So there is, in 1880s, in England, they passed a law, first Public Health Act in England, dealt mainly with the standards of housing in 1880s. Okay, and then there is the urban planning idea by Robert Owens. He designed a community for 800 to 1,200 person na may mga factories na doon, blah blah blah, agriculture, light industrial, recreation. Ano ang meaning nito? Okay. Nagpasa na sila ng mga batas on how to plan cities. And the first idea kung bakit sila nagpasa ng batas is because of public health in housing. Problema talaga yan, guys. Kasi nakakita ko ng book, nabasa ko yung isang book, yung unang-unang itsura ng mga factory noon araw and the housing ng mga tao. Walang mga green open space malapit sa mga industries na yon. Kikita mo yung kanilang, how shall I say it? Yung parang, doon sa mga, pansinin nyo na lang sa industrial. Okay, industrial. Di ba may housing doon? Di ba minsan nakakita kayo ng mga damit nila pinapatuyo nila? Makikita mo sa daan. Nangyayari na yun nung araw pa. Okay, ganun na itsura. Okay. Now, ganito ang itsura prevalently sa UK. Maraming issue na ganyan. Sa mga industrial nation, ganyan. Okay? So, we have communities that happen. So, because of Robert Owens, he idealized plans for a community development with livelihood, factories and everything, and subdivision for people, factory workers, and all of their needs in one area. Lahat ito. Okay, New Harmony, Brook Farm, Icarus, Warnfield, Port Sunlight. It's prototypal. Pag sinabi natin prototypal, meron akong isang design, implement ko sa isang city. Okay, same. Dalhin ko na naman doon. Sa SPP ninyo guys, di ba, kapag nagiging prototypal ang mga buildings, pareho ba ang singil o hindi? Pag nagdi-design ng prototypal, di ba? Pag mas madami na, kapag 10 na yung ginagawa mo, ibig sabihin, mas bumababa yung professional fee na iyong charge. So that's it. If I'm a planner, if I'm an architect, and I have a plan for an industrial city with all of this blah blah blah, and I have to replicate it in another area, that's how it is happening. And what is important for these cities, they have gardens in the center. So they have plaza, they have garden for people. These are the breathing open spaces. Then they have it around mga doon sa boundary ng kanilang industrial cities, they still have buffer zones. Buffer zones mean an area na hindi binibuildan. And then the rest of other development can start. Almost like 400 to 500 hectares of land. Malaki yun. Okay? Those are small communities in the countryside. Okay. So, sabi natin, nag-start siya na meron ng garden sa gitna. So, we have this, another urban theories by Ebenezer Howard. Book naman yan. By the way, as I've said last time, naalala niyo sinabi ko na si Robert Venturi ay isang architectural critic. Okay, kinikritik niya yung mga book and everything, blah blah blah, mga design, ganyan. Kayo, as an architect, kung meron kayong ideas, hindi naman lahat dinodrawing. Pwede nyo isulat, like a theory or philosophy. Ito yun. Pwede mag-start dito. Una munang sinulat ni Ebenezer Howard yung idea niya about garden cities. Then eventually, it was adopted by Daniel Burnham. Physically, it was done. So those beautiful cities are actually starting from an idea. So here, as you can see, there is a central city, garden city, a population of 12,000, and then you're going to connect them with satellite roads, okay? And then another satellite, another cities, ganyan. Okay? Then eventually from 12,000, kapag multiply mo na naman yan, it becomes, you can have around 250 blah blah blah. Okay? So for him, this is a configuration of a beautiful city. Okay? So optimum sizes of the cities. Okay, next say, if you have this satellite, then you can have another satellite, connected na naman. Okay, may mga bilog na naman doon. Palayo ng palayo. Correct? Then kukonek mo na naman, may mga bilog na naman. Okay? Then you're going to have galaxy of settlements. So, kanya-kanya. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Maiiwasan mo na because nasa sentro, akala ng mga tao nandun lang ang resource, pero may satellite ka na eh. Isipin nyo ito guys, ang sikat na mall sa atin ay SM. Okay. Instead na pupunta kayo sa Mega Mall, yeah. Instead na pupunta kayo sa Mega Mall, maaaring pwede ko sabihin na ito ay SM blah blah blah. Hindi ko na kailangan pumunta dito kasi makukuha ko na dito. Okay, so ganun yun. Correct? Okay, so that's how it is. So maiiwasan natin ang tinatawag nating slum area na naging problema noong araw. Sanitation, maiiwasan natin lahat, makokontrol natin lahat. So for him, ang kanyang libro, Tomorrow, A Peaceful Path to Social Reform, there are three magnets, no? It's the town and country, the people where they will go, and the combination of both, town and country. So that's the paradigm on how are you going to plan the city. You see, sa town, ang idea niya is a town or a city is a social opportunity for you to get your livelihood. But on the country, that is where you are going to breathe. Open spaces, blah blah blah, nature, blah blah blah. Now, if you combine both, livelihood plus the beauty, di ba nakita niyo yung mga planned unit developments? Rockwell, they are saying, play, live, work. Di mo kailangan lumayo, nandun lahat. Okay? So, gano'n na ngayon yung mga developer, mga Mega World, blah blah blah, they are Nubali. Pag sinabi natin Nubali, what do you think about it? Diba? Diba? Maganda ang environment. Nandun lahat ng kailangan mo, meron ng mall, blah 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 blah. Pupunta ka pa ba ng Maynila? Hindi na. Eh, kasi lahat na ng mga universidad pumupunta na doon sa Nubali. So that is what garden cities are. It's a central city having 58,000 and smaller garden city 30,000. So they are going to be linked by railway or major roads. And then all of these in between, there is a separate green space. Okay. Ang Seoul, South Korea. Ano yung Seoul, guys? It's the capital of South Korea.
Yes.
Okay. Alam niyo ba na ang planning ng Seoul as a city is they have this city and then they have green belt. Forested yung nasa nakakaikot doon sa pinaka main city. And then yung mga ibang mga nag-expand na na mga development ng Seoul after ng green belt. And then again there is another green belt. There's another green belt. Okay. Ano ibig sabihin doon? You can sustain the growth of cities by incorporating green and open spaces. Okay. Okay, tapusin muna natin ito. So, ang unang garden city na na-build based on that idea is the Letchworth. Okay? So, may ganito, Letchworth. It was established by Howard in 1899. So first garden city, which was designed by Raymond Unwin and Barry Parker. 1902 consisted of 4,500 acres. Okay guys, conversion. How many hectares in acre? How many acres in 1 hectare?
1 acre.
Ilan? Ano mas malaki? Hectare or acre?
Acre.
Acre.
Acre ang mas mataas. Okay, sige. Ilang hektarya ang isang acre?
100,000.
10,000 hectares. Okay. Ilan ang isang hektarya?
10,000.
1,000?
10,000.
10,000 square?
Yes.
Okay. Sino may palayan sa inyo? Meron ba kayong palayan na higit sa isang hektarya? Naisip niyo ba kung gaano kalaki yun? So if we are talking about 4,500 acres, so i-multiply nyo yan, ang dami yan. Napakalaki ng area. Correct? So it is mainly 3,000.
10,000
Okay, tingnan ninyo. Yung hati ng 4,500, 3,000 is for planting, agriculture, and 1,500 is for
Hectare.
urban build-up.
1 acre.
Mas malaki yung area ng urban build-up. Now, tingnan ninyo maigi yung Metro Manila ngayon, Greater Metro Manila. Sa tingin nyo, ideal ba siya? Kasi mas malaki yung nasa urban build-up. Supposed to be dapat, ang kwentahan, 70-30. 70 yung open area, green spaces, 30% yung build-up. Para makahinga ang mga tao. So yun yung ideal na urban district, urban plan. So ganito yan. Ito na yung mga So ibig sabihin, yung idea ng urban theory ay nangyayari sa totoong
Burnham
buhay.
Park.
Nabigyan siya ng ibang, mga ibang kasama natin sa profession. So these are the garden cities. The second one was Wellwyn in 1920 by Luis de Sison. So they have formality. Yan. Ang mayaman, correct? Okay. Georgian state. Another type of design in the UK. Then there are so many followers ng Ebenezer Howard on his idea on garden cities. Osborne, Unwin, Parking, Hampstead Garden, 1907, blah blah blah, housing. All housing types with civic buildings and large common areas. Okay, ayan. So, guys, ito na, gumaganda na. Nagma-master planning na tayo. Okay? Nagzo-zoning na tayo kung saan dapat, blah, 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 blah. And then you have Wythenshawe, the third garden city in Manchester in England. Okay. So, it has amenities like schools, shops, pubs, churches, blah, 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 blah. Alright, so before tayo pumalaot sa iba, break time muna tayo. Kahit 5 minutes, 8 minutes siya. Okay? Nagigets ba natin guys, evolution? Alright, very good.